No one wants to admit the truth about female desire, especially women. We're told it's tender, romantic, and passive. A flower waiting to be picked. But look closer. Look at what women actually choose. They swipe left on the kind man and match with the predator. They fantasize about being taken, not being courted. They don't dream of safety, they crave chaos, dressed as confidence. You want to understand female desire? It's not about love. It's about power. The power to attract, manipulate, and reject. It's the thrill of being wanted, without the obligation to want back. That's why women flood OnlyFans, not as consumers, but as goddesses. That's why they chase the emotionally unavailable man, not because he's good, but because he's impossible. Because female desire is not about what's safe, it's about what's irresistible. Freud saw it first. Desire is not moral, it's not logical. It's a wound that wants to be touched even if it bleeds. And Simone de Beauvoir revealed the deeper tragedy. A woman does not desire a man. She desires how desirable he makes her feel. So don't ask what women want. Ask what they cannot stop wanting, even when it destroys them. You think this is misogyny? No. This is biology without anesthesia. You hate this, or you're just afraid it's true. We pretend female desire is some innocent thing, fragile, soft, reactive. But if that were true, the world would look very different. Dating apps wouldn't be battlegrounds. Toxic men wouldn't trend. OnlyFans wouldn't be a billion-dollar empire built on one thing. The female gaze not toward men, but toward herself being watched. This topic cannot be ignored, because it unmasks a lie so deeply embedded in our culture. We mistake it for truth. The lie that women are victims of desire, when in fact, many have learned to weaponize it. Not out of malice, but out of something darker, instinct. Freud understood that desire emerges from repression. The more we're told not to want something, the more we crave it. But when it comes to women, society represses the truth of what they really want. They're shamed for wanting domination, so they suppress it. They're told to prioritize kindness, so they grow bored. They marry stability and cheat with chaos. And Beauvoir warned us, women are not born, they're made. Shaped by a world that teaches them to seduce before they even understand what seduction is. Taught to extract validation before they learn how to love. If we dare to confront this, it changes everything. It changes how we see dating, marriage, infidelity, even feminism itself. It doesn't make women the enemy, but it forces us to admit something monstrous. That desire isn't moral. It isn't fair. And when women are finally honest about what arouses them, the result isn't empowerment, it's a mirror most people cannot stand to look into. This episode won't offer comfort. It will offer clarity. The kind that slices. Her name was Rachel, 28, copywriter, lives in Austin, drinks oat milk lattes, posts about mental health, swears she's done with toxic men. She has a boyfriend, Daniel. Solid, kind. Makes her playlists, picks her up from the airport, sends flowers for no reason. She says she loves him, probably even believes it. But at 1:47 a.m., it's not Daniel she's thinking about. It's Brandon, the ex who once disappeared for 6 weeks and came back like nothing happened. The guy who told her, "I don't believe in labels," while fucking 3 other girls. The guy who made her feel like she never had him. And that's what made her want him. She sees he's posted a story. He's in LA now, shirtless by a rooftop pool. She taps it, then taps it again. Then she messages him, "You still alive out there?" He replies, "Barely." "You?" 3 texts later, she's on a red-eye to visit a college friend. She tells Daniel she needs space to focus on herself. She spends the weekend in Brandon's apartment. They don't talk much. They don't need to. She cries in the Uber back to the airport. Not because she regrets it, but because she knows she'll never stop. This is not a rare story. This is the story. Rachel doesn't want love, not the slow, nourishing kind. She wants intensity, the hot, unhinged feeling of being wanted by someone who could vanish at any moment. Because that danger makes it real. Freud would call it the death drive. an unconscious pull toward pain as a way to feel alive. Beauvoir would call it internalized objectification. The woman doesn't want a man, she wants to be wanted, intensely, obsessively, destructively. Daniel represents peace. Brandon represents significance. And here's the most disturbing part. Rachel doesn't feel like a bad person. She feels like she's finally honest. Because female desire isn't about kindness. It's about chaos wrapped in confidence. It's about the thrill of not being chosen, but chased. The good man is reliable, but the bad man makes her feel consumed. And in a world where every woman is told to be empowered, confident, self-loving, she's still checking her worth in the reflection of a man's hunger. Brandon never asked her about her dreams. He never listened. But when he looked at her like she was the last girl on earth, that did more than any ring ever could. This isn't dysfunction. This is biology, dressed in Instagram captions and therapy speak. Because if Rachel was honest, she'd admit, she doesn't want emotional safety. She wants to be ruined by someone unforgettable. Daniel still texts her. He says, "Take your time. I'm here." She doesn't reply. Not because she hates him, but because he makes her feel nothing. And that's the real fear. Women don't leave good men because they're bad. They leave them because they're boring. Rachel is not alone. She's just ahead of the curve. She stopped pretending, stopped lying to herself. She knows what turns her on. And it's not Daniel holding her hand. It's Brandon grabbing her throat. This is the secret feminism doesn't want to touch. Because if we admit this, the whole empowered woman fantasy cracks. But the truth is louder than any slogan. Women don't dream of being equals. They dream of being irresistible. And being irresistible has nothing to do with love. It has everything to do with power. Rachel didn't just go back to Brandon. She stayed in orbit. 2 months after their weekend, they weren't in a relationship. They were in a ritual. He'd ghost her for 10 days. Then message, thinking about that one night. And suddenly she's shaving her legs at midnight, booking a last-minute flight, deleting her guilt like it never happened. Daniel? He finally stopped texting. She told herself he deserved better. But deep down, she hated him for not fighting harder. Because even when women leave nice guys, they expect them to bleed loyalty. Meanwhile, Brandon didn't ask questions. He didn't care what she wore. He didn't care if she cried. And that's what made him so potent. Because female desire isn't rational, it's responsive. It doesn't bloom with kindness. It ignites with indifference. The less he gave, the more she craved. Like a dog to a closed door. You want to understand modern love? Here it is. Men fall in love with presence. Women fall in love with absence. And that's where the tragedy begins. Rachel was not in love with Brandon. She was in love with the version of herself that existed when he looked at her. Desired, dangerous, disposable. That feeling was addictive. Even as he humiliated her, canceled plans last minute, flirted with other women in front of her, whispered lies just to watch her react. She stayed. And here's the part no one wants to say. She liked the pain. Because pain is the only thing that cuts through numbness. And numbness is the real epidemic among modern women. They have comfort. They have careers. They have options. But they don't have sensation. Not the kind that rearranges your spine. Not the kind that makes you feel real. And Brandon gave her that. Through cruelty. Through tension. Through the feeling that at any moment she could lose him. That's what our culture gets wrong. It teaches women to demand love, but it never teaches them to recognize their own patterns. They say, "I just attract toxic men." No. You select them. You ignore the man who sees you clearly and chase the one who makes you doubt yourself. Because the doubt makes the validation more precious. It's not a bug. It's the feature. Every girl who ghosted a nice guy has felt it. That little death inside. The knowledge that she killed something gentle and didn't feel bad enough to stop. And this is where we rip the mask off. Modern morality is built on lies. We say women are victims. But no one asks who taught them to find pleasure in their own destruction. It wasn't men. It was the mirror. It was Instagram likes. It was fathers who weren't there. It was mothers who taught them, don't chase, attract. It was Disney. It was porn. It was everything that made them believe their worth was reaction-based. So when Brandon ignored her, her brain screamed danger, but her body whispered home. Daniel would have loved her forever. But Brandon gave her something more addictive, a reason to question if she was enough. That's the real drug. Not love, but doubt plus desire. The twin engines of every late-night text, every panic, every orgasm. And she's not alone. You know a Rachel. You are a Rachel. You post quotes about healing while secretly stalking a man who never gave you closure. You date the stable guy, but still think about the one who made you cry in his car. You say you want peace, but chase the edge of war. Why? Because peace doesn't validate your existence. It doesn't test your worth. And in a world where women are told they're goddesses, queens, sacred beings, there's still a part of them that needs to earn the attention. That's why Brandon wins. Because he makes her work for something that should be given. And the more she bleeds, the more she believes it matters. Love is not kind. Love, for many women, is measured by how deeply it hurts. And the more it hurts, the more real it feels. Here's the paradox. No one wants to confront. Women seek what breaks them and call it love. Not because they're weak, but because it's the only thing they feel. Desire, in its rawest form, isn't looking for safety. It's looking for threat. A presence so powerful it could destroy you, and yet, for a moment, it chooses not to. That's the erotic edge. That's why Rachel kept going back to Brandon. Not for affection, but for the gamble, the unspoken, will he want me today? That roulette of relevance. Freud saw it clearly. Desire is a wound that never wants to heal. We pick at it, revisit it, worship it, because healing means boredom. And boredom is death to the ego. Beauvoir added the final blade. A woman's identity, in a patriarchal world, is still chained to how she is perceived. To be desired is to exist. To be undesired is annihilation. So what happens? She attaches to the one who makes her feel fragile, because in that fragility, she feels real. And when a woman finally meets a man who offers stability, who truly sees her, she recoils, because he asks her to be human, not a fantasy, not a projection, just a person. But that doesn't arouse her. It terrifies her. You want to know why the good guy always finishes last? Because he never makes her question her worth. He offers love, and she doesn't trust it. She trusts the one who withholds it. That's the core paradox of female desire. She doesn't want to be loved. She wants to be chosen over and over by someone who might not. Because that kind of validation feels earned. And anything earned feels valuable. So no, Rachel isn't crazy. She's just a mirror of a generation taught that feeling something is more important than being safe. And the cruel truth is this: the more pain he gives her, the more proof she feels that it must be love. You can call Rachel toxic. You can call Brandon a narcissist. But that won't change what you just saw. This isn't just one woman's story. It's a pattern stitched into the unconscious. It's not romantic. It's not healthy. It's truth, stripped of all illusions. Desire doesn't care about your values. It doesn't care about your healing. It wants what makes you ache. And for many women, the ache feels better than the cure. She says she wants a man who listens, but she dreams about the one who disappears. She marries the nice guy, but lusts for the one who never cared. And she'll spend years asking herself why. The answer? Because pain is the only language that still feels authentic in a culture that lies about everything. So mock her, judge her, call her lost. But know this: you're not better. You're not safer. You're just next. Because this isn't a glitch in the system. This is the system. And it doesn't care what you believe. You can curse me, but you can't escape this truth.